Okay, so what I want to do now is really help to explore this Blackboard area. Now, this Blackboard area, what you're seeing right now, is going to be exactly the same as what you're going to see. I know you can't see this until day one. If you're trying to look at this before day one, we can't get into that. It's just the way the school has it set up. But at least you can see what this is all about. This will look exactly like yours. The only thing that's going to be different is that you will not have this orange bar. This is where it's telling me that I'm in the student mode, so I could see what you see. But I usually obviously work in the professor mode because I got to create the whole thing. So that's pretty much it. Now, I'm going to go through this. I'm kind of this is, I would call this area here, this column on the left-hand side, the dashboard, because that's where you're going to be spending a lot of time on. What we're doing now, this screen here is the welcome screen, the start here. When you click on this, just, it's a little introduction to this, what you need to do on day one. Also, everything I'm going to explain to you through words is kind of written over here. Notice that everything in yellow here, inbox, Blackboard mail, inbox, Blackboard mail, inbox, but this is where you're going to email me. Do not, when the class starts on day one, do not email me at the usual CCM mail. The reason why, and I'll be honest with you, is because I want to make sure that all the information for my students is going into one place. I don't want to get it lost with all my other college email or other classes that I'm doing. I'm not saying I'm not going to read it. It just gets lost in there. I don't see what's urgent. You guys are what's urgent to me. And likewise, I don't want to be sending things over there and you get them, let's say, a day later because you want to look at all the emails. So I'm going to show you where you're going to be seeing all this. So this is the welcome screen. The contact information, it's just a little information over here about me, the tutoring center, solution center, virtual campus. If you have any questions on that. But again, this is the email I do not want you to use. I had to put down an email, so I had to put down the CCM. But here in big letters, do not email me there. I want you to email me here, inbox, Blackboard mail. Where is it located? Well, just right over here. Okay, this is where you're going to email me. This is where you and I are going to communicate. Okay, you'll be, let's see if I can, yeah, so you can create a message over here. You can attach things also. It's not truly an email, it's more of a message area, but you can attach a file to it. You can only attach one thing at a time, so I have no problems with you sending me like 2 emails if you want to send me 2 different things. That's no problem. This is obviously where you're going to see if any unread mail and the total and so forth, inbox and sent. But this is where I want you to spend time communicating with me. I would like you to do it at least twice a day, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the evening, because like I said, I do send out 2, maybe 3 emails a day. Not every day. I don't want it to sound like it, but my emails tend to be long, yes. But it's because I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and I want to eliminate any kind of emails asking me the same questions by everybody there. So I want to make sure I'm connecting the dots and covering everything. But this is where I want you to check. I'll be checking it at least, like I said, 3 times a day or so. All right. Course notifications, I don't really use that. The announcements, every once in a while, I'll give you an announcement there. Don't use the Ask Your Instructor, just email me. It's much easier that way. I also have a long list of frequently asked questions, how long the course is late work accepted? No, if you have that question already. Where do I submit my assignments? And these are just certain regular questions that I see students always asking. So before you send me an email, check out the FAQs, the frequently asked questions, to see if your answer could be answered there. Okay? All right, so we're going to spend a lot of time now talking about the course content, because that's where you're going to be getting all the knowledge and all the information, and how you're going to take exams and submit things is in this course content area. So first things first, let's talk about the syllabus and other documents. We click on that. The course calendar. Oh, I forgot to tell you that at the beginning. I'll show you that at the end, hopefully, if I remember. But the course calendar is really, really nice. Let me see if I could show it over here. Let's see, will it allow me? I think so. Yeah, good. All right. So what's great about this? I have everything over here. Now, this is for one particular class. I understand that you might not be in the semester, but everything is here. I have it color coded. But what's really nice also is the last page or 2 pages give you a little checklist. Okay, where you could actually, I have it in order of when they're due because I had to pick and choose. Should I pick when they open or when they close? I think it's better about when they close, what the due dates are. So obviously, you'll see over here, this is the primary discussion. What is it about? I have a little note over here saying it's, the introduction of yourself. It opens on this date and it's due on this date. So, print this out, put a little checkbox over here where it says done. These are always going to you always will feel good when you put a little X in these checkboxes. And I have everything basically over here. So you can look at this. I think besides printing out the syllabus, I think printing out this course calendar is going to be just as equally important. It doesn't matter what semester, I'm always going to be doing these. So yeah, that's my suggestion to do and follow it. Okay, I wouldn't get it laminated, but this is really the heart of what everything is. When I have little things here where it says it's due, what are we going to cover, and so forth. But I have it color coded. It's usually right up, usually one of the first things how I have that all done. Okay. All right. So let me close out of that part. Okay. So we're back over here. Here's our syllabus. So you could actually look at the syllabus, print it out. If we ever have to revise anything, I'll add something over here. That doesn't happen often, but it can. So I might put it over here. This is where the course syllabus video discussion, the thing that you're watching me right now, it's kind of it looks like I'm going on a time machine. But yes, this is where you're going to actually see that. Okay. This is the syllabus quiz. Okay. So you're going to need to print it out, answer the questions after you watch this whole video discussion, this whole 2.5-hour thing. And then you're going to go to, and I'll show you where, it's in assessments. And do I have it over here? Yeah. So it says here, go to assessments on the left-hand column, which I just showed you over here. You're going to click. There's going to be a smarter proctoring banner at the top of the next screen. It's not on this because I'm recording this before day one, and this doesn't appear until day one. But I'll show you where that is. If this is going to be your first time entering smarter proctoring, you're going to need to create an account. Okay, so you'll need to create the account. You need to install that extension. It's all going to be self-explanatory once you do that. And you're going to look and locate for that syllabus quiz, and then you're going to just take it there. So, but it's going to be only 30 minutes. So my suggestion is to make sure you print it out first, and then you could answer all the questions. There's only 10 multiple choice questions. And then you'll be able to go to the syllabus and you're just going to transfer your answers into there. They may be shuffled, the questions, or even the choices will be shuffled, but they're the same 10 questions that would be on the preview as it will be in there. Okay, so that's what you're going to find over here, the syllabus quiz. That is due usually the same week, the week one. You will also see that questionnaire I told you, if you could do that, make sure you print it out. No, I'm sorry. You don't need to print it out. I want you here. So you go on here. It's pretty straightforward. Here we go. So you're just going to type in your name and so forth on all these things. I'm just typing anything right now. And then you're going to save it as, and change the file name to your name, because you can't save it as it was originally, because it'll save it as a blank document. I don't understand that either. But yeah, so you're going to put in, put check boxes on anything that you're going to use over here. You can erase them and so forth. Okay. And then just type in your answers over here. This shouldn't take more than, like, say, 5 or 10 minutes to do. Okay, so if you can do that, that'll be very good, and I'll get an idea of what my students are, at least for this semester. All right, here's those lecture objectives and lab objectives. I told you that you'll find. So it's right here. Read them on your own. We have discussion boards. This is going to be the rubric here. The rubric is also going to be found in the syllabus. I'll show you when we get to that point. I'll show you where that is. And the proctored exam protocol is going to be right over here. So you can print it out, make sure you do all those things and follow it, okay? The lab kits, how to order that, I'm hoping everyone has their lab kit in their hand, but if you signed up late, this is how to order it and how much it costs and what do you click on. Mastering A&P, this is how you're going to do it. Remember, you're not looking for a course code. You are looking for a access code. The access code is going to get you in there. You might have purchased it with the textbook. You may already have the access code from A&P1 and you did it, let's say, the 18-month scenario. Or if you're taking this a shorter course and you've done it for 7 weeks and now you're doing the other 7 weeks, that too is going to, you might not, well, if you're doing 18, if you bought the 18-week one, that's fine too. Just make sure it's not expired. Make sure it doesn't expire during our semester because you're going to have to buy another access code, okay? The course learning objectives for A&P1, it's not really necessary. I think that if I put that here, you might want to say, did we really learn that in A&P1? Well, I put the objectives here for A&P1 should you want to refer to it. So I added that over here for your own help. All right, and that's what you're going to find here in the syllabus and other documents, okay? CCM policies, you could click on that. And if you have any questions about policies that CCM has, you could bring it to my attention. You could bring it to biology, the biology department or so forth. But I put that in here also. Now, let's talk about lecture learning modules. This is where you're going to get all the lecture material, okay? Endocrine, blood, heart, and so forth. So let's look at one of these because this is where you're going to spend a lot of time on. Now, everything here is in a content form. You could always enlarge this. I think you click on this one. I'll collapse it. Collapse it and enlarge it. You can do it over here. So I have here an overview of what the focus is, some objectives, what you need to do, other suggested things that you should do, and any assessments. For instance, you have to do the lecture quiz on this material once you complete this subject. I put over here a little bit of the introduction of what the endocrine system is. And this is the good old reading and PowerPoint requirements. So this is the PowerPoint. PPT is going to be PowerPoint. I do have two. Now, these aren't the video lectures, but I found these short things. They're anywhere from like 1 to 4 minutes or so, but I found them on YouTube that I think is going to help you well. They are, I have to say that in my video lectures, about 95% of these are embedded in my video lectures. Like I actually put it as a clip in the video lecture. But if you want to just go right to it, if you wanted to, and you saw the whole lecture, but you don't want to go and search for it, you could get it right over here on those particular ones. Okay. So yeah, you do that. The reading is over here, tells you what it is, chapter 16. And that's what that is. This here, where it says PowerPoint narrated recordings, that's the video lecture that you're going to be doing, okay? So let's take a look at this video lecture for a moment. Okay.
If you're taking anatomy and physiology for the first time, I can guarantee it's not like any course that you've ever taken. And that's why so many students struggle with it. But what if I told you?
So let's go right into it.
So let's do endocrinology, each one of these.
Okay, so give it a moment. I want you to just hear what's going on because you might have to do certain things. Okay. Let's see.
And then, of course, we got ovaries and testes. Thymus gland. When you say the pituitary gland, that's an exocrine.
Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. So give it a moment so you could adjust your hearing.
Okay. This could be a salivary gland, goes through a duct and goes into the oral cavity. But that's not what we're going to deal with. We have a gland here that has no duct
Yeah,
on
wait
it.
a few seconds and then the
Instead,
duct
it
forms.
rides along the side
Okay, I'm going to pause
of a blood
myself over
vessel.
here,
And in
or actually shut me
secretion,
up. Okay, it'll go on immediately. It'll continue though. All right, so let me talk about this for a moment because some students are saying that the sound is not clear. I recorded these, probably like 4 years before the pandemic. So I did these because I couldn't stand having, let's say, Monday classes only, and I got 3 Mondays canceled in a row because of snow days. I couldn't deal with all those snow days and cramming things in, and because I couldn't cut anything out, we still had to do objectives. So it was too much work for the students. So that's when I got the idea. Let me just video record these things. Now, obviously, I was ahead of my times when the pandemic happened, so that it all worked out nicely. But I want to explain to you what students have said works best with the sound. If you get yourself a set of very inexpensive, and you probably have these at home, AirPods or earbuds or headphones, when it goes through that into your ear, it's much clearer, much clearer. So that's my suggestion. If you're using your computer speakers, that's where you're going to hear me sound muffled. But using a headset of some sort becomes much clearer. Now, the other thing about talking about what I did over here was 3 things here, right? There is my PowerPoint. There is my so-called art therapy that I do on the whiteboard here. And over here, you see me use my hands. I'm Italian, so I use my hands, and I could show you what flexion, extension are. If I'm showing you something to do with my my hands, obviously I'm just adjusting things or whatever. But yeah, so I want you to, what I did, of course, this is here, let me just, so what I did here was I created something where it feels like you're actually in the classroom. And don't get me wrong, I'm actually teaching to a classroom. So you'll see people or hear people ask questions. And I left the questions in here when I did my editing because some of those questions are targeted. These are questions that you will be asking or might be asking. They're very targeted on that. So I left them in there and I answer them. So what I created was that here's my PowerPoint. Here's the drawing. Here's me. It feels as though the students have always complimented me the way I did this because it feels like they're in the classroom with me. So I didn't want to change it. I didn't want to do like a Khan Academy kind of thing where you don't see me and, you know, there's a PowerPoint and you draw on the PowerPoint. But I wanted this whole so-called trifecta, these 3 things that were in here. And the students feel so much more that they're not missing much, that feels like a regular classroom. So that's what I created over there. Now, the other thing is what successful students have told me is how to actually watch these. So what they said was that if you actually watch this video on the screen of your computer, your Chromebook or whichever, and then have another digital device where you can have a nice crisp PowerPoint. So you have the PowerPoint on one digital device because over here, if you see it, let's see if I can get another picture. So you can't really see this. You know, you might be able to see some of the words if I blow it up, but sometimes it's difficult to see. But if you have another digital device that has that, or if you don't have another digital device, no biggie. Then just split the screen on your computer. One side will show the video and one side will have a crisp PowerPoint. Anyway, students have always said that that always helped too. So be able to do that on how to do that. Okay. Now, how to navigate this, they're all going to be the same. So I just want to show you what's going on here. When you watch the endocrine, let's say this one here, the endocrine one, it's not just this video here. I broke it up because it's a large subject. In many books, it's 2 chapters. So you have to watch all of them. And I usually have it like endocrinology B08, endocrinology B09, and so forth. It might be A01, it might be C01. But that's how you do them, do them in order. And then also, you see where this is endocrinology B01. If you go by the description and you expand it, everything I'm going to talk about in the first video here is also written here. Okay, so that's what's all in here. So you could flip through, you could go to this one over here and see how far I went here. So that this will help you to find what you need to read about. Okay, so that's a little bit about the videos. You're going to be spending a lot of time on it. Make it work for you. Get those AirPods or earbuds or headphone of some sort. And also, if you have a second digital device, put all the PowerPoints on there so you can see it a nice crisper. If you don't, no problem. Just split the screen on your computer and you'll be fine. Okay, so that's all I want to say about the videos. So let me go back. Okay, review question set. So we went through all this. We'll go to review question set. And this is very vital for you to do. When you feel as though you're ready to take the test on endocrinology, so you've gone through all my video lectures, you have gone through all my PowerPoint, you feel like you have good notes, you feel as though I could close the notebook and I could take a test right now, this is what I want you to do. These review questions are so key for you to do. If, let's say, and we're just waiting for this to open, if you say that there's, let's say, 28 questions in this review question set, of course you can't open this. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's working now. Here we go. Okay, so how many questions is on this? Because this is a big chapter. All right, so there's 29 questions. So close your book, close everything, time yourself, give yourself like 30 minutes, and I'm going to answer these questions. So as you do these questions, you need to do test-taking strategies. For instance, where it says, I know you probably don't know what this is unless you start it before class started. You might know what the posterior pituitary is. I'm not going to give the answer. I'm just going to give an example of how you should go about doing this. So number 3, let's say, says the posterior pituitary has a direct connection with neurons of the hypothalamus. Now, if you think that is correct, I'm not saying it is, but if you think that's correct, you better know why B, C, D, and E are incorrect. Now, it takes me longer to explain all this than to have your neurons and interneurons firing between each other in your own brain. But the thing is, you need to understand why these would be false if that is correct. This is a good test-taking strategy, and it's also going to help you to understand, oh, it's not going to produce hormones that regulate the endocrine gland, because what glands would do that? Like, you're going to answer these questions. It is false because why? How would you make that true? As you do that, you're going to get better and better with your study skills and test-taking strategies. Now, I made up all these questions, or I took them from different places. Other places, other questions I just made up from my head. But everything in my PowerPoints, everything in my video lectures, that's what's going to be on this. Also, keep in mind, I do a lot of questions that are going to make you critically think. I like to use the word clinically think, so we're all going to go into medicine. But all the information, all the knowledge should be in my video lectures and PowerPoints. And maybe a question might make you connect the dots between the information I gave you, okay? So you should be able to answer all of these from my video lectures and PowerPoints. The book is a great supplement to all this in case you get confused with something. So make sure you do this. And then afterwards, oh, and the other thing too, I picked these out because there's these 29 questions. These 29 questions are covering every major subject that you should be going over in this endocrine system, or at least in my PowerPoints or the book and so forth. So it actually hits on all the important stuff. If you do a question and you have no idea, like for instance, number 5, secretion of TSH, I don't even know what TSH is. That's telling you that if it's not in your notes, then you felt it was insignificant to put in your notes. However, if there's a question on it, I'm telling you, it is significant enough to know for your future. So that's where a lot of students have issues with, how do I know if this is important? Is it going to be on a test or not? How am I going to, well, this is what the review questions are doing. If there's a question on this, it is important. So do the best you can by in those 30 minutes to answer all these. Make sure you know why a certain answer is correct and why the other choices are incorrect. And then after you're all done, there's no answers to these. The answers are my PowerPoints and video lectures, or it should be in your notes. The answers should be in your notes. This is how you're going to know if you take good notes. So you need to go back into your notes after you're done with this quiz or this review question set. Go into your notes, and if you have something about secretion of TSH, maybe it's not enough. Maybe you just forgot the information. And if it's not in there, then you need to go back to the video of lecture and or the PowerPoint, and you need to put that into your notebook, because that is important for you to know, because that's what's going to be on, that's what's going to be questioned on the lecture quiz and the lecture exam, let alone the final exam. So that's what I want you to do. Now, the other thing, I want everybody to do these on their own. So not doing it with anybody. Do them at your own pace, because one person could do it for 2 hours, another person could take, and going back to your notes and whatnot. Another person could take 4 hours, another one could take, let's say, an hour. So do it at your own pace. It's okay. People are slow, people are fast. It's okay. Then meet up with like 1 or 2 other people and go over the answers. Do not do the quiz or the review questions together. Do them at your own pace, and then just go over the answers. I think if you go over the answers, you're going to learn from each other. You're going to learn like, well, I got this wrong, you got this right, but how did you know this? Oh, there's a good video to watch. Here's the video to watch. Or here's a mnemonic that I came up with. Or I outlined it over here. I remember when Dr. Gamaro said this over here. So I think it's much better where you do the answers together and you go over them and maybe spend like maybe 5 minutes on each one. Like I said, it shouldn't take longer than an hour, hour and a half tops. But you're just going to go over the answers. Why did you pick C? I picked B, that kind of thing. But I think you're going to learn from each other. And I think that's what's important. If you don't want to meet in person or you can't do that, no big thing. We're in the 2020s era. So, I mean, you could use FaceTime, you could use Zoom, you could use whatever, Skype, all those kinds of things, and you can meet up that way. It's no problem. Okay. So that's how I want you to do these review questions. Now, a couple things I just want to add to this. There's no answer sim. There's no answer key because I don't want you to memorize the answers. I want you to work out what the answers are by going back into your notes to learn that that's important. I didn't build these for that reason to memorize the answers. What I want you to do is go back to your notes, add into your notes what that is. All right. The other thing about this is that 20 to 25% of my lecture quizzes and lecture exams will have these questions on them verbatim. So that's what I'm saying is, even if I gave you the answers, now you're going to get those answers right by just memorizing. That's not why I created this. But I am encouraging you to do these because there's so many different reasons, but one of them, it may be on your exam, the same question. So that's another reason why I don't give out the answer keys. The last thing I wanted to say was, if you have a question about these, I'm not saying I'm not going to help you with these. All I'm saying is I can't help you with all. You must know if there's 29 questions, you probably have questions on maybe 1, 2, maybe 3, because most of these answers you could just find in my lecture or PowerPoint, my video lecture or PowerPoint. But if you're still lost, no problem. But you have to prove to me that you've gone through the question. You could say, and I'm just giving an example, Dr. Kumar, I got a question about number 6. You say that the adrenal gland, I could rule out A, B, and C are wrong because of so and so and so, because I found it on this in the lecture. But I'm kind of lost on D and E. Your lecture on, or your PowerPoint on slide, 22 says that it's not stimulated by the parasympathetics, but you also say in your video lecture that the sympathetics are more prominent, but not the parasympathetics, or something of that nature. If you're actually showing me that you've gone through it, then I will show you where to get the answer. I'm not going to give you the answer. I might say yes, but if you look at slide number 32, notice what happens in the small box in there, what I mentioned. Usually I don't get a response back, which I guess is a good thing, but most cases I usually get a response that usually says, thank you so much, you just cleared up everything. So I want to teach you how to fish. I'm not going to be there for you with the exams or the quizzes, so you got to be able to do this on your own. But don't get me wrong, I'm going to guide you over there, okay? So that's what I want to say about these review question sets. Make sure you do them. Okay, and then also the strongly suggested activities. There's a few things for you to do. I have a hormone chart that, you know, it's suggested, it's not required. I don't collect those review questions, by the way. That's all for you and to work on. The hormone chart for this particular one is up to you if you want to use that or not, but that's what that is. The last thing over here, discussion board. Now, these are not the discussion boards that are required. Most students don't use these discussion boards. It's kind of required for us to put them in there. But students can put things, you know, I have a question about endocrinology, and maybe another student will respond to it, and they'll have that kind of talk going on. If you want to use that, you could go. I have one for each one of the subjects. So if you want to do that, absolutely go for it. Okay, but these are not the ones that are required. I'm going to show you where those are in a little bit. Okay, so that's what you're going to see on the learning. Going back, let's see. Okay, so yeah, this is, again, I know I talked a lot, but this is the lecture learning modules, and you will see each one of those, and they're pretty. What I showed you for endocrine is going to be very, very similar for all the other one of these chapters. Okay, and how to use it. All right, so let's talk about the next one is the lab learning modules, which is very similar to this. So I could speed it up a little bit. Okay, first off, when you click on the lab learning modules, this is where you're going to find the lab guide manual. All right, in this particular semester, it's 109 pages. Okay, this is the one that's free. I have it in PDF, and I also have it in Word. A Word document. Either or, it's going to have the same information. Okay. This is what you have to do for the lab safety contract. This needs to be done. It's pretty easy to do. You just and I'll make it easy for you. You're going to, okay, where is it? Yeah, the contract. So you're going to read the safety manual. All right. There's a few pages and stuff. And then you're going to click on the safety contract. Oh, you're not going to see it because it gets downloaded. Yeah, you're not going to see it on my my video tutorial here. But all you got to do is just type in your name and type in where it says signature. Just type it in. That's fine too. Okay, and that's where that is. All right. So that's where that is. So let me go back. Okay. So there's a lab safety. Do that because if you don't do this, I can't accept anything from your lab kits. And lab report number 2 is dealing with the heart. So we need to make sure that you do this lab safety, so you don't cut yourself or inhale this stuff or whatever. So you need to do this. I will not accept any lab report that uses the lab kit unless I have this in hand. So I'll be hounding you to make sure this is in. Okay, so just knock it off. Do it on day 1. Then we have all the modules similar to what you had before. Okay, so the first one over here is going to be the blood. And again, it's going to look very similar to that. You're going to have the lab overview, the introduction. Okay, here we go, the introduction. Then you're also going to have the lab report. This is what you're going to need to submit. Okay, so when you click on it, hopefully this will show. Yeah. So when you click on it, I have it so that you could type in everything over here. Okay, so you don't have to print these out at all. There's certain things that have to be printed out, but I'll explain to you later on in the semester which things have to be printed out. And then it might ask you to do certain things on mastering A&P, and I give you the instructions over here. All right, there might be some physio X stuff that you have to do, which is the physiology aspect of it, or it might just be part of the anatomical structures. So that's what's on there. Everything has to be in PDF. I'll explain that later, but that's what that is. Okay. Let's see. So my reading and PowerPoint, you'll see that over here. A lot of these, since you have me for lab and lecture, a lot of these are just excerpts from the lecture. It might be new stuff, but don't worry if it's the same material. We want to try and make lab and lecture kind of parallel each other as best as we could. You could speed up my talking to like make me sound like a chipmunk if that's easier for you. That's where my 2 videos are, lecture videos on that. So you saw the PowerPoint, and now you have this. Laboratory exercises, this is what you have to do. All right, in the laboratory guide, the manual, all right, this is what you have to do, the 2 exercises. And then we also have some other things that might help you when you deal with histology of, let's say, the blood components. Also, we have the discussion board over here. Again, this is not the required ones. This is where you're going to discuss things if you want, if you have any questions, and maybe another student will respond. But this is not the necessary one for you to do. Okay, so that's pretty much what you're going to find in the lab learning modules, and they're all going to be roughly the same. Okay, so it's a nice format. All right, so let's talk about the mastering A&P. Now, unfortunately, I can't click on this because it won't open until day 1, and I'm recording this before day 1. What you're going to do is if you go to study area, that's where you're going to spend most of the time. You're going to see a lot of videos, you're going to see animations, you're going to see anatomical things. You're going to do the Physio X, which is the physiology portion of the course. Everything will be there. This is where you're going to get the e-text if you purchased it. And then a few other things over here, an introduction and so forth. But you're really going to spend most of your time in these last 2. Okay, and I'll give you directions on what you're going to need to do with the study areas for the lab material. But explore this stuff on your own so you get familiar with it. You may have already been familiar with it if you taken this course as an online for A&P 1. It's the same format as that. Okay. All right, so let's now look at assessments. And this is where you're going to do all the exams, all the quizzes, and so forth. Now, again, this is not day 1, but what you would see on the top here is something called Smarter Proctoring. I call it a banner. So once you see that, you're going to click on that if there's any exam that you need to have proctored. And you'll get my instructions through emails, okay? But that's what I'm referring to. Unfortunately, we don't see it over here. Actually, let me see something. Okay, this is one of my other courses. It shows up over here, and that's what it's going to look like. Actually, let me put it in student mode. So when you click on assessments, there. So that's what the banner will look like. Okay. I don't want to go into this too much, but that's what it'll look like. So that's what you would click on here, and if it's your first time doing it, it'll ask you to set up an account, and then you got to install that Smarter Proctoring extension into the Google Chrome. And then you're set for all the other exams with that computer, okay? So that's what that is. So let me go back to this. So that's what that is. You'll see it up here. Sorry, it's not there. Your lecture quizzes are here. Your lecture discussion boards, which I'll talk about later, over here. Lab report submissions are over here. Now, notice you're not going to see the lab exams and the lecture exams. They will be found in the Smarter Proctoring area. This is a folder that I need to, I call it like a dummy folder. This is where all the exams are located, because I have to integrate it into smarter proctoring. You will not use it over here. It won't work. It'll ask for a password, which there is no password, because you have to do it through smarter proctoring. So I'll give you all instructions. Just really ignore this. I couldn't make it unavailable, because if it's unavailable, then smarter proctoring doesn't see it either. So just disregard this thing. I kind of put an explanation of it here. All right, but that's where everything will be located for your assessments that you need to submit. Okay, so that's where this is, the assessments area. And then supplemental resources is anything that is going to be supplemental, anything that's going to, if I see a new picture or a new drawing or something, a new article, I'll put it in here. I don't use it often, but occasionally I'll put something in there. Right now, there's nothing in there. Okay. Down here, you could check out your grades as it progresses. You could take a look at this. I'm pretty quick with grading things. And also, this is a CCM email. This is your email. Do not, I repeat, do not email me over here. It's required that we put it here. But again, I want you to always use this one over here. Remember a long time ago I talked about it? Inbox the BB mail. This is where you got to click on. And it looks like this. Okay. They'll say messages, but that's your email. All right, so those are what's over here. Then we have some student services. You could sign up and learn more about the tutoring center over here. You could read that on your own. There's also student services. And if you have any questions about Blackboard help, you could do that. So that is Blackboard in a nutshell. Okay. All right.